We started, we wanted to make our own track and get some more experience like working in the studio. So basically me and Brandon had like just a little idea on the guitar, and we asked Matt to be the drummer and Amy to be the bassist, and then we just like got in the practice room and just showed them the idea, and just tried to develop it. It was only like a 10-second idea. So we developed it, turned it into a song and that, and the next day we just rehearsed it, and then we booked out the studio for 2 hours, and then we just like tried to do drums and bass, but
we struggled getting it in time though, didn't we? Yeah, at the start. Like,
in what way did you struggle?
The intro was a different tempo at the start, so Matt sort of had to improvise a bit.
Like it was hard to do it to a metronome. It was hard to keep it in time. So we mic'd up the drum kit using the Glyn Jones technique, with the Rhodes in line with the snare, and then just an SM57 and an AKG D112, and then we just DI'd the bass into it in the studio room, like just through the decks.
And the guitars at the same time.
Oh yeah, and then we DI'd the guitars as well and sent it through to Matt's headphones, but not recording the guitars just so they had a reference point.
Yeah. At first we tried to record the drums and bass at the same time, but then realised that if one of us went wrong then we had to do the whole thing again. So we DI'd both guitars and the bass, and then sent it through to the drums, and then I got the drums recorded, and then we played bass over that, and then we did the guitars on top of that as well.
Did you regret not recording the guitars the first time?
But then we thought if we had recorded them through the DI, it wouldn't have sounded as good. Yeah.
So all I would say is a tip for everyone for the future, it's often a good idea to capture as much as possible, because what you might find, and what happens quite a lot, is that first ever take will be the best thing ever, and then you try and replicate that and you can't get it. Is it a problem if you've only got a DI guitar?
Well, you can do it in Logic, but it can sound good.
But you can also reamp it. So you could just send it back out to a guitar amp.
We wanted to do a live take as well, but we thought there'd be too much spill because obviously we've got two guitarists. Yeah.
Well, doing it like that by DIing everything and headphones is a way of doing a live take without the spill. So it's like a compromise between the two. The only difficulty then is getting a headphone mix right, really. Yeah. Okay, sorry, carry on.
But the first recording session, like we then booked it again, and we just decided that that was no good the first time.
We completely got rid of everything we did and just started from scratch, which I think was the best way to do it, to be honest, because we started well and we got what we needed to get recorded.
So we did the same thing, micing up the drums and that. Did it all the same. But
I just wanted to ask then, did the last bit of multi-track stuff you did have any influence on the fact that you decided to just redo it again? You know, when you did your assessment one?
Yeah, because it just wasn't a good quality recording.
So that's another good little tip is if it's not right, you've learnt now hopefully that you can't fix it later on in the mix. Yeah. You can polish a turd, but you just get a shiny turd.
So once the drums and bass was done, we wanted to move on to the guitars. At first we set up 2 guitar amps in the room with like the soundboard in between it to avoid spill, with a ribbon mic on each one. But we decided that it was easier to do them separate to help with the timing and stuff. So I did mine first, that was more ribbon.
And so we played what we'd already recorded through with a metronome, but then we also got Brandon to play like a live take as well through the DI, not getting recorded, just to help Tom a bit. And I think it was good for him to realise and play along, but if Brandon went out at the time, you could, and we figured that out a bit later on when we were trying to put it together, and we realised that both the guitars and it was just out of time. It was really bad.
It's alright, these are all good lessons to learn, aren't they? That's the thing.
We did the guitars with a ribbon mic, it just sounded really good. We didn't feel the need to do any other mics with it.
Can you describe the difference in sound that you got between, say, putting an SM57 on and using the ribbons?
It was a lot clearer. Like wasn't any like crackling or anything like that. It just sounded
Okay. And where did you position the ribbons on the amp?
Well, we had the box amp on a chair, and then we set the ribbon mic in the middle of the guitar.
Middle of the cone. How far back?
Well, until we could, because
Yeah.
I put my hand near the mic, the arm to feel the air pushing out and then right it back so
Very good.
We had a clean sound on the amp as well, just
Okay.
because I learned from Teenage Kicks that when you mess about with the effects, trying to get distorted sound, it just sounds crap. So we recorded them clean, and then, like they were saying before, when we came to mix it, like in the studio it sounded in time, sounded dead good, and then came to mix it, and it was just so out of time.
It was atrocious.
We literally spent 3 hours in that room, like cutting into the audio and moving it about
Yeah.
and copying bits.
Copy and pasting. There was a bit where Brandon didn't do. He missed something out, so we decided to copy and paste a bit from before, thinking it'd sound good, and it did. And then you put the other things with it, and it just did not go whatsoever. And we were just there like, oh. And I think we started again.
So were you just trying to copy, just say the guitar and replace it and
Yeah,
leave?
like a good part
But
from
then we had a
before.
problem.
So what might have been a better solution?
Flex time.
Take the whole chunk. Take everything.
Yeah.
Drums,
Well, we
bass,
tried
other
doing
do
that,
you know
but
what I
We tried doing
We
Did
that.
tried
you?
doing
No.
that. For some reason, it just did not go.
Right.
It got to that point, and then it had just.
If you
Okay.
sold the drums on their own, it sounded perfectly in time. And if you sold the guitars and bass on their own, perfectly in time, and
Yeah.
put them together, it wasn't.
Yeah. But the weird thing was the drums were in time because we had a metronome going with it at the same time. So it means that the bass and the two guitars were in time with each other, but we couldn't get it in time with the drums,
Yeah.
so it was on messed up.
And then we cut into a bit of the guitar to replace it, and turns out that the wrong part, because it jumps down into the different part of the song
Messed
and
it up
just messed
completely.
all up. Didn't we start again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Started again at
Matt,
that point.
Matt literally flex timed it all today, this morning. Like, because we didn't get to do it yesterday. Like, we were trying, but we didn't.
So second time around flex time, and it was it easier? Did you make less mistakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We this morning when I went in to do it, there was a bit of mix up with getting it from down up there onto that one. So I ended up getting like one of the earlier takes where we hadn't done anything to it, and pretty much doing all what we did last night, which wasn't much again. But I think it was easier because we hadn't done anything to it. It was easy to change. So I did my best on the guitars and the bass.
Okay.
And I think it's sounding a lot better.
Yeah.
Should we have a little listen?
Hang on.
Oh, sorry. Go on. Go on.
Once that was done, literally did like an half an hour mix with all the EQ and reverb and stuff. So.
So you got the order right of things though, at least, and that can make a difference as well. So when yesterday when you were flex timing, it was something you did later, wasn't it? You'd kind of started to mix it, and in a lot of ways, probably starting afresh, making that the first thing you do, get the source material right, then mix it is probably a better way anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. can you just turn on Flex View for me, Amy? There's a button at the top that says Flex. Just so we can see all the hard work that Matt's done there on that. So we all understand what flex time is. I think we've looked at it a little bit, haven't we, this year? How painful was that, Matt?
It was awful. Going through each guitar, just like moving it slightly. And
So just so you lot know, when they asked me for a bit of help on this yesterday, and initially they were trying to edit to fix all the timing. They were chopping into stuff and moving it about, and it just discovered that it doesn't kind of work because you get gaps and it all goes a bit weird and a bit wrong. So flex time is a really powerful, useful thing, but it's no substitute for a well-played, in-time song. It's good for little bits of tightening, but as soon as you start to pull things too far, you really start to hear, and that's what happened with you lot yesterday. I think you said it all started to sound really weird. The more you flex timed it, things just go mushy and horrible sounding. Okay, can we have a quick look at your mixer view as well? Some severe EQ going on there. What channels are they?
It had the guitar part had a really high pitch resonance all the way throughout it.
So you've just pulled out all the harmonics. Okay, very good. How did we think it sounded?
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah? So a second attempt at a multi-track really, and it's amazing how much you learn from the first time. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But definitely realising what is good and what isn't at the tracking stage is a key skill. Like you lot said, you thought it was in time and you listen back. So that tells me you may be not being analytical enough in the recording. So when I say to you don't sit and talk and stuff, it's because you've really got to focus. Just go back to your arrange page for me. The only thing I would say was, I thought it thinned out a little bit when you go to the solo guitar, that yellow bit down there. Don't forget, when you're multi-tracking, overlay stuff, yeah?
We're going to double track the guitar part, but
If it was me though, I would have had that rhythm part all the way through and then record your solo over the top. Do you know what I mean? So you end up layering stuff up. Just because it's a band kind of thing doesn't mean that you're only ever allowed, you know, one guitar track for one guitar and one for another. It's the beauty of multi-track recording. Record loads and loads, overdub loads, and then later on it's much better to have too much stuff that you can get rid of than maybe not enough to kind of pad out your multi-track a bit. Okay, anything else you want to add?
just a bit like more time and some lyrics and stuff like that. I think it could actually be an alright song.
Yeah? Okay. You always want more time. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Well done.